All right, welcome. I've got a special guest on this show today. It is one of my newest clients. When I say newest, she just started her business less than a month ago, and I've just seen her have such great success the past month that I wanted to bring her on so she could share some of her awesome tips that she's been doing, some of her techniques. So this is Daniela.
Hi.
So you started at the beginning of this year, right, in business?
Yeah, I think that my final day of class for microblading was December 15th. And then I started working almost immediately after. I was really gung ho. I went, made my business, created my business name, and just got started. Uh, but uh, but really, like I would say a full month is since I found the place that I was renting the room out of at this medical spa. It's been a month.
Awesome. And
Yeah.
you're doing microblading?
I'm just doing eyebrow microblading right now. I plan on adding some more services in the future, but just focus on that for the time being.
One thing that I thought was cool that when I first met you or started talking to you, you were actually going to move to a different city and start your business in a different city. So I get a lot of
Yeah,
people who are like, well, I don't know anybody in my area.
yeah. I originally, so my plan, I'm in Austin, Texas now. My plan was to move to New Orleans. I just kind of wanted to start over, and I thought that being in a new city would help facilitate it. But when I was in training for microblading here, my plan was to move right after. I just had so much support from friends that were here that I guess it just made me realize that I didn't want to leave. So I decided to set up shop here instead.
Yeah, and I know Austin's a competitive area, so it's really awesome to me that you can start a business in less than a month and you're booked out to what, February, into February?
Yeah, so right now I'm taking my availability is for about 9 appointments a week, and I've added some extra ones on top of that. And already for February, right, like as of today, I only had 6 slots available. So I'm pretty much booked up all of February. And having friends did help. I did some friends, but most of my success has been from Facebook, from marketing.
And these are people you've never met before, most of your clients?
Yeah, most of my clients are, like I said, I have done some friends, especially like right in the very beginning. I was doing $100 just to cover my expenses for my friends to try to get some momentum, more so for practice than to try to get them to advertise for me. But once I felt more confident, and I was pretty fortunate. I kind of felt confident right out of school. But yeah, most of my clients now, I have not met them. Some of them, I talked to on the phone briefly, but I don't know the lady I'm doing later today. I don't know the lady I'm doing tomorrow morning, and I don't know the 4 people I'm doing on Saturday. So,
Yeah, so one thing I've seen with a lot of people is they'll come straight out of training and they'll want to charge like 400 or 500 bucks. And so uh, for successful clients that I've seen, they're willing to drop their price some. And the advantages I've seen of that is you get practice, you get some cash flow going because I know you've got rent and stuff like that. You start making connections, so people who work with you, they're going to go out and tell their friends, and you're still going to start building that word of mouth.
exactly. Yeah. So it's a snowball effect. A lot of my clients have already sent me referrals. So one woman I did, for example, she made an appointment for her mom afterwards. Another one made one for her sister. So that will happen. And then, like, as you get more successful, you should be able to rely less on advertising and more on word of mouth. But especially in the beginning, just to get people in the door, charging full price right off the bat is just it's not smart for so many reasons. The first one being that no one no one in their right mind is going to book microblading from someone that doesn't have a solid portfolio. So in the beginning, my number one focus was to just get photos of good work up. I know that once my Instagram feed is full of quality work and I've got more than 30 or 40 photos, then I can start, I guess you could say, have the balls to to charge more because and not only that, but in the beginning you want to start making money right away. It makes more sense to be fully booked at 250 than only have one appointment for $500 if you think about how much money you're making.
Yeah, I even saw that in my own business. So when I started about a year ago, I was charging less just so I could build some practice, I could get some confidence, I could get some testimonials. And now at this point, I mean, I'm turning away people that are trying to pay me hundreds of bucks just because I'm so busy and I want to keep those my focus on my clients that I have right now. So
Yeah.
I know we've done advertising together and that's really paid off. But some other things that I've really noticed with you are your hustle and you're just going up or you're going back and messaging people, following up with people, doing all the stuff that with some people I see that they're like, oh, I don't feel like responding to people or I don't feel like putting in the time. It's just crucial as a small business owner to put in the time and effort. So,
Yeah, and by crucial, I mean I would even say that it's not crucial but imperative. I would not be able to book as many appointments as I do if I didn't bust my butt continuously. I'm working from the moment I open my eyes in the morning until I close them. You know, I was responding to messages till midnight last night. When I woke up this morning, the first thing I did was check my messages. Not only do you need to respond to every single one, but you want to do so in a timely manner because people that are looking for microblading, they don't hear back from you. They're just going to move on to the next provider. They're going to look
yep,
for someone that has availability right away or can at least make contact right away. So immediate contact is really important. But the number one thing that I've noticed, and it's the most tedious, and it's what I think people don't hate doing the most, especially if you don't have a sales background and you don't have thick skin, is the follow up.
yep,
Only like I think you and I had talked about numbers before. Um, only I think I would say probably out of the smaller percentages of people that actually book. So you have the messages received, and then you have a smaller percentages of people that book. Out of those people that book, only like 1 out of 10 of those people is going to book immediately when they
yep,
first contact you. That's just not. People are going to say, oh, that's interesting, or let me think about it, whatever. After that, it's up to you to constantly remind them that you're there and even to remind them that they want to get this done. You don't know how busy people are if they've got a lot of things going on, a lot of
exactly.
things that they're trying to purchase or do. Just always, you want to always put yourself first, I guess, and just make sure that you implant yourself in their train of thoughts on a regular basis.
Yeah, I see a lot of people that are like, oh, I don't want to push myself on someone or I don't want to be annoying to them and stuff. And I always say, like, if you believe in your product, so if you believe that the eyebrows you give someone are going to increase their confidence, make them feel better, they're going to love it, then you shouldn't have a problem going out and saying and reminding them
Yeah.
and saying, hey,
Remember that they reached out to you. So they're interested. This isn't hard sales. This is soft. This
yeah,
is something that they already want. Not to mention the fact that if someone is annoyed by you, especially in sales, they are going to let you know. It's not going to be like, you don't need to be shy about like,
yeah,
oh, I don't want to bug this person. I keep messaging them. I have people I've messaged 8 times in a row without a
oh,
response.
yeah,
And then on that eighth time, they're like, oh, you know what? I think I'm ready. And they didn't reply a single time. If they had thought I was like annoying or they wanted me to stop messaging them, they would politely say something like, you know what? No, I'm sorry, I'm not interested, or they'll lie to you and they tell you that they booked with someone else. But um, people aren't shy about letting you know when you're bothering them.
right, exactly.
Like what you were saying. Oh, like when people are like, I don't want to bother them, I don't want to bug them. Always word your follow-up messages in a way that remember that you're offering them something. Like they're lucky to be coming to you. They're lucky that they get it to take advantage of the special offer. It shouldn't be the other way around. So whenever I do my follow-up messages, especially to the ones that say I'd like to learn more or I'm interested as auto replies, when I have a few spots left that month or that week, say you're not booked up the whole week, but say that week you only have 2 left, um, just say, hey, just wanted to follow up with you because I know that you were really interested and I don't want you to miss out on this deal. I have just 2 spots available this week at this rate. So if you want to take advantage of one of those before they book, just give me, hit me up. And
Right.
it can be really casual like that. And I found that giving people a few options as opposed to sending them a link to go book their own appointment doesn't work. It's not as effective as being like, hey, I have this day at this time, this day at this time, give them 3 options. And now they're already thinking about actually making the appointment.
Yeah, I find that the more hoops you try to make people jump through, the less likely you are to get the sell. So, like, I've seen some clients of mine, they'll send messages and be like, hey, just go book online, and then
Mm-hmm.
they get zero conversions because people are not going to go do the work. Like you've got to make it very easy for people if you want their hundreds of dollars, which is what you're trying to get, you know.
Yeah, and that's the actually the biggest thing is probably the number one piece of advice that I wanted to give because I've learned from trial and error. When in the beginning, I require a $50 deposit to book all of my appointments, and the only way for us to get a deposit is if they go and they schedule. They have to give you a credit card information, so they
Hmm.
either have to book their appointment online through the link you send them, or you have to get them on the phone and you have to schedule the appointment for them and enter that information. In the beginning, as soon as someone said they were interested and asked me what time I had available, I would say, here is a link. You can actually see all the times I have available on there, and you can book your appointment directly online. Then I would get crickets. That's not the way it works. When somebody says, even if you have a booking site, and even if you take a deposit, when someone says, what time do you have available, you drop whatever the heck you're doing. You pull up your scheduler. If you're on your phone, pull it up on your laptop. If you're on your laptop, pull it up on your phone. Go in there and see what your next 3 available appointments are and send this to them. When it's just like basic human psychology. When they've already committed to their appointment in their own mind, after that saying, okay, hey, you want to book it yourself? It's just a $50 deposit. Do you want the link, or should I just call you real quick so we can? Once they've already committed to the time, that part is a yes. It's unlikely unless there's been situations where someone's been like, oh, you know what? I get paid tomorrow. Can we do it tomorrow or something like that? Then I will do this. I will extend a courtesy to them. So I'll say, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and schedule your appointment. I'm going to set an alert in my phone to remind me that, I need to collect payment from you. Why don't I give you until the end of, you can do it for, 2 days, 1 day, to give me a call and reserve it. If you forget, I'll follow up with you, before that time's up, but I just can't hold the spot longer than X amount of time without a deposit. And that works really well too.
Yeah, exactly. So you're saying close the sale really first in their own mind before you try to work out too many details.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Just close it. Have them commit to a time. Have them know how much it costs, have them agree to it, have them commit to a time, and then bring up, like, the last thing you're going to do is bring up either a deposit or holding the card on file. That should be when they've already basically verbally made a verbal agreement to make the appointment.
yeah, so like for those watching, imagine going to a car dealership and then the first thing the car salesman says is, "Hey, we can get you this loan, but it's probably going to be like 5% interest. Here are all the paperwork to fill out, all this stuff." Sadly, I've seen some clients do that. Like right when somebody messages them, they'll send them all these forms that they need to fill out and stuff before even closing the sale, and then the person just doesn't respond.
Yeah, no, and I totally know that because, like I said, that's kind of, I'm not exactly that, but I was doing something similar to that in the beginning when people ask you what would you have, you just make the sale. Just get them interested, get them excited, get them basically booked. And then that way, all you need at the very end is that credit card number. That should be the very last thing that you do.
Right.
And also, I find that booking the appointments for the clients, even though I have a scheduling app that allows them to book themselves, I find that that's a nice personal touch too. And then you get them on the phone, you get to hear their voice before the appointment. You can tell them how excited you are about doing their eyebrows or whatever. So,
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing for young or new business owners is you either have a lot of money or you have a lot of time. And for most people, they don't have a lot of money starting out. That's why they're in the business to begin with. So use that time to go back and follow up with people, message people, do your research. Like I've heard of one company that they'll like go look at somebody's Facebook page, find out like when their birthday is or if their son or daughter, like any kind of life event, just be personal, be friendly. That's what sales is connecting with people and then providing them a service that they see valuable enough to give you money for.
absolutely. And don't be afraid to feel like a stalker too, because people, the pictures that they have on Facebook or Instagram that they choose to be public, they do that
Yeah.
because they want people to see it. So like for me, anytime any client that has a dog anywhere, I bring up my dog within
Yeah.
the first 10 minutes, 5 minutes of our chat, and it's not even like a blatant, like, it's not like, "Oh, I see that you have a dog. I have a dog too." It's more like, oh my gosh, I'll be right back. Sorry, my puppy is craving my attention, or he needs to go outside, just to get that out there. And
Yeah.
then it's like this light goes off in their head that you already have this thing in common. So yeah, any common ground that you find, definitely utilize that, because it does make a difference. It does. People are on the defensive when you're trying to sell them something, so it helps them open up a lot.
Yeah, people are more willing to do business or want to do business with people that are more like them. It's just
Hmm.
basic human psychology. So we know you got some great results from the advertising, but there's another free or a technique that people can do for free that I wanted to point out. So I had mentioned to you to do the marketplace, and then you made a
Yes.
post on Facebook Marketplace, and tell us about those
Yes.
results.
And it was really, and I don't know if it was just timing or the fact that I already kind of know how to respond to messages now, but I made an ad on Marketplace, and it's unlike ads, you can't see how many people actually saw it,
Mhm.
but I want to say I got 4 messages from it, but I booked 3 of them.
Yeah.
So, and the way I did that one was I posted some photos. I uh, I did want to do a brief description of what microblading is on there, just because these aren't people that are actively looking for microblading and already know what it is. So I made sure I included a description, and then I just simply wrote that I only had 4 spots available for the month, which was true, and I wrote down what dates and times they were, and then added a link to book. And I had like 2 people that didn't even reach out to me that just went and booked, and then I had like 2 other people send me a private message on Facebook. So it was pretty good. I'm going to do another one.
Yeah.
I'm going to keep doing those.
Two things from what you've said that I wanted to point out. One is you were talking about limited availability. We call that scarcity in psychology or marketing, and it just goes back to survival traits. If there's a scarce amount of resources, that people are more likely to want it. And the other thing was how you were talking about there's also a limited time, so kind of the same lines of scarcity, where they only have a certain amount of time to do something. Because if people have forever, or just think about anything in your life, if you have forever to do something, you're like, oh, I'll do that soon. And then what do we end up doing most of the time? Procrastinating. So that's why you got to give a reason for people to act now and have some kind of sense of urgency.
Okay. Oh, and I just thought of another really great trick that y'all can use. And I've been doing a form of this, not the way that I would suggest you doing it if you really aren't all booked up. But I have my set hours at the spa. I rent the room 18 hours a week. Like I said, I have my hours, but I also have the option to book additional hours by the hour. So if the room's available, I can text the doctor there and say, hey, can I book it for 2:30 to 4:30 p.m. When I am booked up. So when all of my January is booked and I'm running a January promotion and people are hitting me up about January, and I know that like if you square an acuity, you have the option to make yourself look more busy than you are, or you can block off specific times. So if you only have 2 spots left in January and you want to look like you have none, you can block those off so they don't show up on your availability. What you can do is you can hit up all of your people that are waiting for cancellation, and the way I do it is I pick a date, like a 2 hour window that I want to release like extra hours on top of what I work. And I'm just write all these people. I'll have 4 or 5, and I'll be like, hey, I just had a cancellation. It's kind of last minute. I'm sorry, but I know you wanted to get the deal. It's 2 days from now at this time. They have family emergency. If you want to snatch it, like I have 4 other people that reached out to me, so I messaged them as well. So if you want it, here's a link. Don't wait. Just go grab it. That's it. That's
Yeah.
all. I send that message. Almost every freaking time I will get an email 10 minutes up later to someone that booked that didn't even take the time to respond because they wanted to rush and get that freaking appointment. So if you're not fully booked, that's something that I can recommend doing. Pretend to be more booked up and get people like they're waiting for some kind of
Yes.
exclusive thing that they don't have access to. And
Yeah.
now I'm able to. So now I know I said I was all booked up in January for my 18 hours, but in our reality, I probably added 4 or 5 at least extra appointments. So it's been good. It's been a good tactic.
That's the thing about sales tactics. There's so many different types of people that it's good to try different things. Like if someone doesn't respond to, I've got this appointment in a few weeks. Like there's certain people that want to plan everything out, and then there's some people they just want to like act now. They just want to, like if something pops up tomorrow, that's when they're going to do it. Just because they don't like planning ahead.
Right.
So being
Right.
in,
And what I've been doing with some of those girls, like one woman really was really gun ho because doing I'm raising my prices by $50 for February for my promotion, and she really wanted the January deal. Um, what I did with her is she wants to just know when the first available is. And I just told her, I sent her a message the other day and I said, look, I know you wanted to be on a cancellation for January to get this price. I said, I really don't foresee any cancellations. And right now I only have 7 spots left in February. I'm like, and I know they're going to be all booked out by the end of the month. Instead of waiting and then not being able to get a cancellation, and then come February, we're going to be in the same exact situation where you're just hoping for a cancellation. Why don't we go ahead and get you booked for February? I'll honor the January discount. And if anything opens up between now and then, I will let you know. And guess what? Nothing's going to open up between now and then, because when it does, you're going to book the other people that you have waiting so
yeah,
that you have
exactly.
more appointments. So it's just, I don't know. And it's just kind of I guess no one really taught me these things. It's just kind of, I guess I'm just a trickster.
Yeah, I mean, these are all great tips because, like, I've studied sales before. I've looked at some of the leading sales trainers, and these are all things they talk about, like keeping the sales funnel full of people, so that if one person drops out or one person cancels last minute, you've got other people you can just go to and send a quick message, and usually fill that spot.
Yeah. Yeah, so, and that's great. That's another great point too, is you should try to redirect some people to the following month if they're trying to get that month's deal. But the ones that are like really gung ho, that you know they really really want it and they just want a spot to open up, keep those. Keep those as your on your cancellation list, like for real, because uh, sure you get $50 if somebody doesn't show up, but if you had the possibility to be fully booked, if someone cancels within 24 hours, guess what? You just made $50 and you booked someone else. So now you've just made more money because you had backup.
Yeah, so I know you got to go soon, so I just wanted to say,
Yeah, I have an appointment. I
th-
have one of my fake appointments. Cancellation appointments.
well, I just want to say thank you for coming on this interview and kind of sharing some tricks. Maybe we'll get you back on later or some
Yeah.
other time. You can do even more. So I'm actually, since I have so many clients and each has strengths and weaknesses, and you have lots of strengths that I can learn from. So I even learn from my clients, and with working with over 100 people around the world, I see all the best strengths and what people need to work on, the most commonly asked questions. That's why I'm actually going to create a test group where I'm going to open it up to kind of like almost like a mentor, but it's going to be like a program where we're going to have like a Facebook private group. We're going to have videos like this where I go on and teach like sales tricks, Facebook, how to set up Instagram, like all that stuff that we've been talking about. Because obviously we can't cover everything in 15, 20 minutes. This is going to be
Yeah.
hours of videos. So I'm opening that up. So I know you're already in and you've looked at some of the stuff and you said it was good stuff. So just wanted
Yeah,
to,
and I mean, like I said, I'm just starting out, so I've been learning everything through trial and error myself. So it'll be cool to kind of maybe touch base again in a couple of months and see what else I've learned along the way, and what I found, that can be improved. And I think I'm part of that group. So if
yeah.
anyone else in the group that's new to the group has questions, I'm always just down to help. So they can reach out to me for with any concerns, or they want to do a little coaching.
Yeah. I
Okay.
find the videos are great for like setting up stuff and learning that way, but then I find that the group is kind of essential to like have where people can bounce ideas off each other, learn from each other's mistakes, because that way not everyone has to make the same mistakes, not everyone has to reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
And that's really how humanity and civilization has grown to begin with. So that's why I want to implement that in this industry. So I'm really excited about that. I'm
Yeah, and
glad.
I think Jake, that's a great idea, because the other Facebook groups, like the one I found you on, was microblading advice and tips or whatever. Those are great, but that advice is for microblading.
Yeah.
This is for how to close, like how to book
Yeah. How to
appointments, which
sell, how
I
to
think,
market.
yeah, which is something that I wish I would have had access to when I started out. So that's cool that you're offering for other people.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for having us, and good luck with your client today.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too. Bye,
All
Jake.
right, bye.